Hello, my name is Emily, and my Etsy store is Yesterday's Stash. The way I got that name is that about 30 years ago, I started collecting old things from my great aunt's old home place, or the family. She was the last living person at the house before she had to. She stayed there until her death. But her name was Emily as well. But anyway, so I had been collecting old lace and old fabrics and old books and magazines for many, many, many years. And while I was in my career, I didn't think too much about it. And then now, about 5 years ago, I discovered junk journals. And that's where I am using all these wonderful supplies. I've supplemented them with, I've seen what I have and supplemented them with a lot of things from thrift stores around here, or anytime we travel anywhere, I look for the junk stores or the thrift stores and try to pick up things that can go with my already very full sets of drawers of materials. This book here is one that I have enjoyed probably more than any other book that I've made over the past 5 years, simply because I love this paper packet, which is the Tales of You and Me paper pack from Prima. And I have just really enjoyed using Tales of You and Me. That is a new paper pack that I bought. I don't buy a whole lot of things new, but when I saw that Tales of You and Me at Hobby Lobby, I just had to get it. And I've been using it. So I kind of went crazy with the different pages, and I started using a lot of my stash to make different what I call collages on the pages. So this is an example of a collage that I put together. There's pinks, there's a kind of a lavender background, light green. I use old dictionary pages, old things that I have picked up or found along the way. So other than glue and washi tape maybe, and this paper packs, if I see them, most of what I use is old paper packs that I pick up at used stores. But here is Tales of Us. These are big tags that are a part of that Tales of You and Me. And this is Prima paper that I've used, but you will see quite a few collages throughout this book that I kind of went off on and had a great time putting together. So to start out with, here's an example of something old that's in this book, and that's an original article from a Cosmopolitan magazine, and I keep them I put them together in a decorative envelope. This is from March of 1893, and it has several pages of articles, an article about it, and it has several pages from the magazine original. And because it's 1893, the pages are a little crisp. So you can take and use the pages. You can use them for pockets or for tags, or you can just read the article. This is also a poem that's in here, and just really want to share as much as I can in my journals from the old magazines that I've collected. The book itself is 8 by 7, 8.5 by 7, something like that. It's six signatures, and all the way around this is all paper from the collection. This is actually a tablecloth that I bought in a square in Prague, if you can believe it. And I put some that metallic gilded paint on it, and put some glitter on it to kind of give it some a finish that would to help preserve it. But when I was in Prague a couple of years ago, the whole city is based on squares, and this particular square had home goods or home housewares or homemade sewn products and all kinds, aprons, you name it. And this was a placemat, and I loved it because of the lavender. There's several themes in the book. Number one is romance, because that's what Tales of You and Me is about. All of the pages except for one come from the Tales of You and Me. It's also based on Jane Austen. I'm a Jane Austen fan. The themes are pages out of, that I have purchased the pages from Etsy stores who are selling either Jane Austen or floral designs. Some of the pages come from ArtyMaze. Let's see, Joy, AmyJoy, Nik the Booksmith, and let's see, Dreamz, etc. This particular is a napkin that belongs in here. It's just this beautiful napkin that I bought in Austria, actually, and so it's just very appropriate to stick something romantic, romantic picture of a couple dancing in here. So just to let you know that I am completely thrilled that there's so many good pages out there from different sellers of their paper package, because I don't know how to do that. This is Nik the Booksmith. This is a bag that my sister gave me. Here's an example of one of the collages using yarn and lace. This is from a Spotify seller called Delygirl, and she has a kit on hats, fancy hats, which I thought was very, very appropriate, because Jane writes to her sister Cassandra about buying ribbon for a new hat. This is a piece of old bridge tallies that were half open in a used bookstore that I found. This is old tea bag paper. I was at we have a lot of libraries around here, and I was at one of our used bookstores, and they had a whole stack of these old pages from what we call Peterson's magazine from 1869. So this is an authentic original. I actually sewed them together because the pages were so thin, but I want to share as many of these as I can in my book, so I've got a couple of them in this book. So theme, another theme would be old magazine articles. I collect postcards, and Jane Austen lived in Bath, so I've got a postcard here. There's about 40 different types of lace from my collection that are included in here. And like I say, about 5 or 6 different Etsy page kits that I have purchased. Just beautiful colors. Another collage. I just have the greatest time putting together pockets, sew it with lace, color coordinated. Charms, I have charms. There's probably a dozen different charms in here. Here's another one of those book pages using an example showing a lace, how a boy would wear a lace scarf like this on his outfit, or that type of outfit. And then they named the different dress patterns by girls' names each year. So here's some of the lace. I use green lace, I use lavender lace, pink lace, cream colored lace, white lace, all different colors of lace in here. Here's an example of some of the charms that are included. This is a piece of lace that I sewed across the top of one of the pages. This is an old Jane Austen journal that was all to bits that I pulled together and put in some of the pages. This is from I believe this is Delygirl. using different laces. This is a burgundy hem tape that I used. More of the Jane Austen. These have Jane Austen quotes in them. More charms hung with garment pins. This is a piece of wallpaper sample, wallpaper patterns. I use a lot of those that you can get at the used bookstore or used, we call it scrap exchange, so it's all kinds of people, different people's scraps. This is where Rudyard Kipling lived, and he had a quote about gardening in here. This is a doily. I love to go through books and tear out old pictures and try to tag them with what they are and stick them on the side. This is the only other page that there's 2 pages that don't belong to the Tales of You and Me collection, and this piece of vellum is one of them. This is a charm that belongs to, called Little Charms, and it's add a chain or necklace for a bookmark stitched to clothing, dolls, and shoelaces that I have stuck in there. Here's an example of where I have combined different laces and put them together on a pocket or a tag or whatever you want to call this. And lots of England. There's lots of England. That's another theme in the book because Jane Austen lived in England. She did spend some time in London, and so I've got that in here. Moving along here, this is more quotes from the book pages. This is a costume from that period of time in the Regency period. This picture just reminded me of Jane. It's from a magazine, and I cut it out and turned it into a tag. Put a backing on it to give it some cardstock, but here she is, a picture reading a book. So she was a huge reader. She wrote 6 novels. This is another quote of Jane Austen's. Life seems but a quick succession of busy nothings that I've put on upholstery fabric, sewed around it. It's just a ticket, and then turned it into a tag for writing on. This is a partial kit that came together from a scrap from the scraps exchange. Another one of the collages that I put together. So moving along here, we've got about 68 pages, totaling 136 front and back. 72 or around 72 of them are journal pages. 4 or 5 of the pages are things like that are pockets or bags, those sorts of things. There's 52 removable tags that you can use, and there's one other page that came from another source, which when we get to it, I'll show you. These are old. These are not old. They're origami sheets, and I've turned them into writing spots. Just did a lot of decorating with different things that I have in my stash. This is from a magazine called The Mentor, and this is actually a painting of Rembrandt's mother, and on the back it tells a little bit about the story. Here's another example of a smaller collage. This is, we have a lot of libraries in the area that have gone digital, so I've got so many of these, so they are always going to be included in a journal. These are smash books. I did pick these up at Tuesday morning. They're called smash books. They're 49 cents a piece, and it's usually lists, and they're good because you can, lots of times people want to jot down things, and so you can have a place to do that. This is a take and go book that I have put together. They're just regular books that I added some pages to. Another pale pink lace that is used as a part of the pocket to color coordinate. This is an old book called Books of the Ages. It was published in 1904, and when I bought it at the bookstore, it was really pretty shredded. The book top was away from the rest of the book, but it had all black and white etchings and a story behind each painting and what the painting was about. This one's called Another Marguerite. It just kind of reminds me of some of the women in Jane Austen's books. British. I collect pictures of old castles. You know, there's so many castles in England that are being refurbished and turned into places for weddings and special events and museums, and gardens are kept up, and it's just beautiful to travel through England and London and go to some of these castles. I haven't been to near enough. I want to go to more. Here's another one of those old pages. This one is 1869 from Peterson's magazine, and it's on hats. And I encased it in a piece of plastic because it's so frail, and it, you know, is the real authentic. This is a piece of glassine that I've put together that you can use as a tuck spot or pocket. The Strand is an old magazine that used to be published late 1800s, turn of the century. So there's a page out of that. This is the page that, I don't know if you're familiar with Somerset Studio, but it's a great magazine to subscribe to. It's called The Art of Paper and Mixed Media. And inside each issue is some pages, artist's paper, that you can take and use. So that's what I have done here, is I have used this page and I put a trim around it. More journaling pages. This is another little charm. And then at the end, or along with each package of paper or books that I send out from people who purchase them, I will include extra napkins. This is what Nik the Booksmith would call a raggedy, I think. And I got this idea from Cheryl, the Girl on the Ridge. Lori, Girl on the Ridge, not Cheryl. Cheryl Brown is the one that has the Spotify shop, Delygirl. But anyway, this is where I will include some extra things in a raggedy, or I think that's what she calls them, what Nik the Booksmith calls them. And this is got some extra things in it. It's got some cards that you put on a package. It's got some old, well, not old, but I bought in bulk tea bags, not having any idea what I was going to do with them. And I'm still in the process of figuring out the best way to use these. They make great little spots where you can, little pockets. So I've had a really good time playing around with that and coming up with things. These are more old postcards. So history, England, Jane Austen, authentic originals, romance. That's what this book is about. It is actually called The Lavender Heart because of the lavender heart that's on the front of it. It's a piece of a towel. So thank you for watching. I know that you have lots of choices of where to look for your journals. I absolutely adore this one. Had a great time making it, and hope to see you on the next video.